Hey, welcome back to Project Me. Don't know what day it is. Been so long. Let's get right into it. So, first of all, gratitude. Nearly forgot. So, firstly, grateful to the weather. It's been an absolutely lovely couple of days. Very nice and warm. Spring is here, which is excellent. Only a few bad days sprinkled here and there with rain and lots of wind and so on and so forth. But that's okay. We have some nice days to balance it out and to bring it up. Secondly, I am grateful to the gym. It's really nice to be able to get out some of life's frustrations and stress and just pump it out through some exercise. So, love you, gym. Thank you for that. Thirdly, grateful to my friends for the support they've given me in launching my campaign, which I'll talk about in a minute. It's not as glorifying as the word campaign might suggest, but it's still a big deal, I think. But we'll get into that in a minute. So, first of all, the last week and a bit has been mostly school-related things. So, firstly, I've decided to run for the academic vice president role at the university student union, and it was a very last minute decision. Truth be told, I didn't think I would win, and I still don't think I will win. For lack of a better way of putting it, it's a very progressive student union. That's not necessarily a bad thing. This is the capital city. It's to be expected at such a university. But that said, I'm a very moderate candidate. So if the student union itself is over here and me as a moderate is over here, you can understand there's a little bit of disparity between me actually getting to the student union role. So, for example, I gave a speech on Wednesday, and I would consider this outside of the scope of my role, but evidently not. Someone asked me what my position on the Gaza tragedy was, and whether I would work with the university to divest funding from Israeli sources and all that. And God, I mean, for a second there, I was a little bit flabbergasted. That was probably the last question I ever expected. It had nothing to do with any of the policies I was suggesting or wanting to work towards, nor was it within my mandate necessarily. And to begin with, I had thought the university had already announced a week or two earlier that it already had moved all of its funding away from Israeli things. So I was a little bit shook for a second, but I mean, yeah, it surprised me that question came out of nowhere. That's just an example. So yeah, again, a little bit of a disparity between where I am and where the student union position is, but it's whatever. I didn't think I would actually ever win. It was more about the experience for me, showing up and trying to run a campaign, and if it succeeds, and I've got a job for next year because this is the paid role. So who knows? It'd be fun. I feel like it would be very rewarding, and it's a chance to see whether I actually want to go into public. Excuse me, I rephrased it. A chance to see whether I actually want to go into public servitude or not. So yeah, it'll be a good experience either way. So last Friday, a few friends and I, we went up around all three campuses of the university and we put up posters. There's this great big ugly A3 thing that I'd done myself on Canva after 3 hours of learning how to use Canva. Just the classic thing. I think it looks pretty good. My architecture friends who do a lot of design work were very impressed with me, so I take that as a good sign. And since I put up the posters, good and bad things have happened. I've had people come up to me and say, "Hey, what's the deal with your face on all these posters? I haven't actually read the poster, but I saw your face." And so I told them at the campaign, and others have said, "Oh yeah, I'm all for you. I don't know if I'll vote, but I'm all for you." And I've also been told off because at one of the campuses, we can't put posters on the wall, apparently, because it damages the paint, which I know is not true. But it's because the staff at that particular campus just dislike the student union. which is a very interesting thing, and it's a whole rabbit hole I don't know enough about to talk to, but I do find it very hilarious. I went back the next day and took down all my posters, except the ones on the notice board because those ones are allowed. But I did my due diligence and I've taken down the ones that need to be taken down. So it is what it is. But I just find that absolutely hilarious. Anyways, the person I'm running against is actually also, I don't know why I'm saying actually. Generally, people who run for this are quite competent, I would say. He's also very competent. I've had the privilege of running into him a few times. He's a friend of some mutual friends. So I do know him a little bit, and so it's just a shame we're both running for the same position because it'd be an absolute dream to work together, for one. And also, he's a very smart guy, very intelligent. Um, so yeah, it would be cool if we were running for different positions, but alas, we're not. I've got to run against him, and he's a great guy. So, frankly, I would be happy having him as my academic vice president. So not too much going there, but still, just an exciting thing overall. I'll just briefly talk about the speech I did on Wednesday, and then I'll move on to the law school negotiation competition that I participated in. I got some feedback for that as well, which we'll go through. But as for the speech, it's quite funny. We have this central area in one of at the main university campus called the Hub, for obvious reasons. And I had assumed the debate was in there, but it was actually in a place called, well, it's almost like a little mini restaurant, cafe, lounge thing, slightly off on the side of the campus. So I realised pretty quickly that the debate wasn't happening in the Hub, and I ran all the way to the Hunter Lounge. So I got to the debate quite, puffed, catching my breath and everything, and then I was immediately called up on stage to give my speech, and I didn't do badly, I don't think. My friends said I did great, but obviously they're my friends. I can't always expect them to tell me what I need to hear because, well, there's reasons why they wouldn't tell me what I needed to hear. But I'm sure they did think I was fine. I know I could have been way, way better, which is just the nature of self-improvement, right? Finding the little things that you can be better at and then working on them. But for example, maybe, and I suspect this is the reason, I just haven't done enough public speaking. It's not something that necessarily intimidates me, but when I get up there, everything feels like a dream in a way. It's almost like tunnel vision. I'm speaking really quickly, which is the real problem, because I feel like if I were to get up there, if I were confident in myself, confident enough in myself to just take a deep breath, look around, and then start speaking, I would be fine. But the issue is I get up on stage, that tunnel vision kicks in, and the only thing I can see at the end of the tunnel is finishing the speech. So I rush through it. I'm stumbling over a few words here and there. I am speaking quickly, like I said, and it's almost like I'm grasping the podium as well, which is not great because you want to be a presence on the stage, right? You want to be pacing a little bit back and forth. The issue is they didn't have a mic for me. They had it for my rival candidate, but they didn't have it for me, so a little bit irritating. So again, I do think my options were a little bit limited. But that said, I should have done better, and I know I could have done better if I had maybe practiced a bit more, taken it a little bit more seriously. Would have been nice, I think. But again, I don't think I actually have a serious chance of winning, so I didn't take it too seriously. It was more about the experience, like I said. But anyway, so I made a list of things I can improve on there for public speaking. I mean, I got up there, my leg was twitching left and right, so I had to shift my position. I was kind of hiding behind the podium for that as well. Yeah, curious, funny. You think you'll be fine, and then you get up there, and then your leg starts twitching. You're like, oh, maybe I'm not fine. But it is what it is. I think I could just use more practice, public speaking. I'm not scared of it, but when I do get up there, I do get a little bit nervous without realizing it, I think. Just more practice will help. The issue is, how do I get more practice? Something to think about. Yeah, I'll think about that. The other thing I wanted to talk about were the law school negotiations. So the law school here, they do competitions every so often. So I'm still in the junior category of students because I'm a second year. So the way it works here is the first 2 years are junior, and the next 3-4 years are senior students. Sorry, the first 3 years are junior, and then the next 3 are senior. There we go. So I was doing the junior negotiations, so it's with a partner, so I went with my friend C, who I did the other previous competition, the junior mooting with, and we did really well. We got to the finals there. So we did again the negotiations. We'd never done negotiations before, so we went into it a little bit half blind. We both read the same book, actually, the Kremlin School of Negotiation. Very interesting book. So we both had that base knowledge of negotiation going into it. And then we get into negotiation. The first one's pretty good. I mean, well enough. So we get on to the next one. We win that one as well. And then we go on to the semi-finals. And by that point, there were no second years left. It was just third years. So we were 2 little second years in the third year's world. They'd all previously done negotiations before. And of course, lots of experience with other competitions as well. So, very rewarding experience, really. I mean, we didn't expect to go as far as we did. We had fun doing it as well. It was a really interesting experience. And yeah, I mean, we're just very happy with ourselves, to be honest, to get that far. She was a little bit disappointed not to get to the final, but I kept my expectations in check a little bit more than she did. So it was less of a blow for me. But either case, we got some feedback. It wasn't necessarily individual feedback, because I only just found these notes I took from the feedback. And on these notes is the email of the judge, and I have to email the judge to get the individual feedback for me. So I just found it, so now I can email after this video, which I will do. But the more general feedback I got was about, oh yeah, actually this ties in pretty well. So winning a negotiation, especially in these types of negotiations, it's not quite as conflict-based as you might imagine. It's much more about, for example, you get judged on your rapport with the other team, so whether you're courteous, whether you're being ethical in negotiations, we don't want to lie, whether we have good teamwork with our partner. The outcome of the negotiation, of course, gets marked. What else? Strategy as well. So after the negotiation, there's a post-negotiation interview for about 10 minutes. So we just answer some questions, explain our strategy to the judges, and so on. I know we get marked on some other stuff as well, but those are the big things you need to know. So it's not necessarily about winning a negotiation. It's about how you're acting within it. And by that I mean, what soft skills are you using during the negotiation? And of course, your strategy. So yeah, pretty interesting stuff. So there's different strategies going into it. For example, there's interest-based, which is like, we're going to work to both of our interests. These are my interests. Tell me yours. Okay, let's meet somewhere where we're both happy with how we've safeguarded our own interests. Then there's like quasi-interest-based or semi-interest-based, which is essentially a little bit more positional. So in the sense that, this contract, we want to pay you 48 million. You want to earn 20. Sorry, we want to be paid 48 million. You want to pay us 26 million. Okay, maybe we can meet somewhere in the middle. That's much more positional based. And then there's just pure competition, which is like, screw the other side over as much as you can. But of course, those negotiations never really work out in real life because it ruins our relationship. So we were going for a bit of an semi-interest based strategy, which worked out pretty well for us. I know I can speak more in negotiations. I tend to be quite quiet. And part of that is because my partner's much quicker on her feet than I think I am. So when a question is asked, she jumps to it, and I'm sort of left there in the dust a little bit. But in that semi-final as well, the other team were very, very good at leading the conversation, which is something we could be better at. So anyways, just food for thought. But yeah, general feedback on negotiations as well, pretty good. But anyways, that's it for me. That's my most recent... What would the word be? My most recent episode of ranting. There you go. Or rambling. There you go. But yeah, some self-reflections in there. Not sure this will be useful to anyone, but this is more for me than anyone else. So, what the hell. But anyways, I hope you're all doing absolutely fantastic if you made it this far. And I hope you have an absolutely wonderful day, night or evening, or brunch, or lunch, or breakfast, whatever time it is for you. I hope you have a great day. Cheers, guys.